All right. Hey, okay. Welcome to everyone who's just joining us. I'm just going to make sure we're actually live in the Facebook group, and we are, which is a huge relief. So welcome to you guys who are just joining us. Today we have the amazing website mentor, Vicky Etherington, joining us. Yay! If you've just arrived, do say hi and let me know that you're here. Just pop a little comment into the box. So just let me know that you're here, and we are going live on StreamYard. So if you could just give StreamYard permission to see your name, that would be brilliant. I've just put up the link below, streamyard.com/Facebook. And we will get this party started. So what we're focusing on talking about today with Vicky is how you can build your own website from scratch, which I know a lot of you guys are needing. So we're going to dive into all things website orientated in just a moment. And Vicky has so much wisdom that she's going to share. She's probably the best person I know at helping people to build websites. And just know how to maintain their own website and all that kind of good stuff. So hi, Vic. Welcome to you just joining us. And James. Hi, James. Esther, welcome. Oh, that's so sweet. Esther's saying, I just literally told all my clients that they need to go to you for all things LinkedIn related. That is beautiful, Esther. Thank you so much. Brilliant. Okay, and if you're just joining us, say hi. Let me know that you're here. And of course, give StreamYard permission to see your name so we can see you. Awesome. All right. Well, let's dive in. Vicky, I've known you for years now. You've been a client, a friend, a fellow kind of coach on this crazy journey that we do with our businesses. A fellow co-conspirator, I think is the right word, conspirator on this journey. Let everyone know a little bit about you, though, because I know you super well, but I know not all my audience do at this stage.
Thanks, Shelley. Thank you for the lovely introduction. And yeah, I think it's about 6 years now that we might have known each other. Could it be that long? And yeah, it's been a bit of a crazy journey. So I started off life, actually in marketing, and that was like at the end of the 90s. And then I transitioned into web design, marketing-focused web design, and then started teaching people how to build their own client-focused or marketing-focused websites. And that was about 6 years ago. So I primarily work with coaches, therapists, and course creators to teach them how to build their own client-running websites. And it's not for everybody. Not everybody wants to build their own website, but there are plenty of people who do want to have more control over their websites, and ultimately they want to be less reliant on other people to make the changes, because things shift and change so much in our businesses, especially at the moment, that it's really great to be able to just think, do you know what? I've got a new offer that I'm going to launch, and I'm just going to put together a page on my website, and then I can tell the world about it. And that's really liberating to be able to do that. And even back in early 2002, when I was tinkering with my very first website, as soon as I did that, so many small business owners said to me, can you teach me how to do what you've just done with your website? And I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just kind of like tinkering, and it's terrifying, but it's amazing at the same time. And so I think lots of people actually want to feel that and have wanted that for a long time. So that's what I love doing, is helping empower people and give them the confidence to be able to just do what they want and take control of what is ultimately our key marketing asset. Because lots of us think about, well, I've got a really great Facebook page. Do I actually need a website? Or I'm really good on YouTube, so maybe I can just start running my business from there. And there is a little bit of truth in that, and you can get started in that way. But ultimately, you do want to be taking all your traffic off those other platforms that you don't have any ownership of, and bringing them to your own little corner of the internet, which is your website, because that's where you can grow your email list. That's where you can start pixeling people if that's something in your world, you know, so that you can start running Facebook ads and start doing more paid traffic, and ultimately that's how you scale and grow. So so that's my backstory in the longer kind of version of it. But yeah, so I'm really happy to just talk to people about how they get started. And so it'd be really interesting to ask people who are on here where they are with their websites, if you're happy to do that, Shelley. I don't know if people in your audience have already got websites, maybe they love them, maybe they've got a website that doesn't really bring them results, or maybe they don't have anything at all. So maybe if any of you who are here in the chat just want to just post and say, yes, I've got a website, or no, I don't have one yet, or yes, I've got one, but it doesn't really work.
Yeah, that would be super great. I'm just going to also just mention, Amanda, I know you're on this live. If you could just give StreamYard permission to see your name as well, that'd be awesome, because I'm seeing you as Facebook user coming up. Fantastic. Brilliant. And welcome to everyone who's just joining us. So what Vicky would like you to post, if you've just joined us, is just to say, have you got a website? So post if you have a website. If you haven't got a website and would like to have one, please post that. Was there something else you wanted them to post as well, Vicky? I think I might have missed.
If you've got a website and it doesn't really do anything for you. So I often talk about sleeping beauty websites, and those are websites that look gorgeous because maybe you pulled them together from a template, or maybe you've had a graphic designer put one together for you, but it's literally never brought you a single inquiry or a single client. And when I'm speaking to coaches in particular, or therapists, I do find that that is a really common lament, that they ask someone to create something which they thought was beautiful and which they were really proud to show their mom and that kind of thing, and it looks amazing, but ultimately it doesn't do any heavy lifting for you. And your website should be like your third arm. It should be working really hard for you. And often we think that we've got a traffic problem. So people will often say, my audience isn't big enough, or I don't have a big enough list, or, you know, I don't know how to generate enough traffic. But the reality is that often we have a conversion problem. And that means that it doesn't matter how much traffic you drive to your website, it's never going to bring you any results.
Absolutely, absolutely.
In place.
Yeah, so Vic is saying we have a domain name but no site yet, toying with which platform to use. We've also got, another person is saying that they don't have a website. Sorry, I can't see your name. I'm just see if I can see who it is. Let me go over to comments on Facebook. Let's see if I can grab. Oh, no, it's zipping past too quickly for me, so I can't see the name. But anyway, there's another person who's saying that they don't have a website. Julie's saying, I have a work in progress. It's been that way for a long time and it's not published. Mark is saying, I have a website, but not too many visitors. Savita is saying, would love to have one and know how to create one. I have a website which is set up for me from the company, but would like a website which I have created. So perfect. And we have another person. Let me see, Claire. Claire is saying, I've paid a company to create one, but they're hopeless. Oh,
I mean, it's just, I mean, it's so sad to read that, but unfortunately it's not uncommon. So, and what was the other comment? So Mark says he has a website, but not too many visitors. So we can talk about that as well.
And Paula is also saying she's got the same kind of problem. And Martin has the same problem as well. Have websites, but it's not converting.
Okay. All right. So let's just talk. So let's start with the basics, because we've got quite a good mix of people. So, Shelley, you happy for me to just launch straight
I'm going to let you just take it away. Go for it.
So for those of you who don't have a website yet, you might be feeling a little bit overwhelmed about which platform you should use, about how you get started, what do you even need. So I'm just going to tell you right from the outset, there are 5 elements for every website. Like, it doesn't matter whether they are on Wix, Weebly, Squarespace, GoDaddy, whatever they're on, there are 5 elements that every website needs in order for it to function. And we won't go into too much detail about all of them, but the first element is a domain name. So your domain name is your web address, and it's like the number on your door, so that postman knows where to put your letters. So that's the first thing. Every website has a domain name. The second thing is every website has a hosting facility. So it's hosted somewhere, and hosting often gets muddled in with domain names because they can be with the same provider. But the hosting is basically where your website files sit. So if your domain name is the number on the door, the hosting is the furniture inside the house. It's the file. So when someone types in your domain name, your web address, and wants to look at your website, it sends a message to your hosting provider to serve up those files, and then the correct web files and web pages are delivered to that person that's wanting to view the website. Your host has a really, really important role to play because it keeps your website live. It makes sure it's not likely to get hacked. It also looks after your emails so that they're delivered when they're meant to be delivered. It has a really broad ranging function, and it's often very underestimated. And lots of people go with budget hosts and then discover that it lets them down. And so that's the second thing. So your second thing is hosting. Your third thing is your platform. And this is where people get themselves in a pickle because they think, okay, well, do I want to work with Wix because I see adverts for them everywhere, or people are telling me that WordPress is the best place to build. And so there are lots and lots of places where you can build. And what I would say is, if you're building a business and you're wanting longevity and you're wanting to scale and grow your business, even if you just feel like you're just getting started now, it's difficult for us to envisage where we might be in 5 years' time. But what I would say is WordPress is a really, really great platform to enable you to grow. And when we are starting our businesses, often we pivot and shift, and our requirements of our website can change really, really rapidly. And not all of the platforms enable you to evolve in that way. So I only work with WordPress. But there are platforms which are easier for you to get started on, but which you are likely to outgrow. So the likes of Wix is a good place for you to get started if you need something really fast and you want to get something up and running quickly and you don't envisage that you're going to outgrow it too fast. So there are ones that I would definitely steer clear of. The problem with the likes of Wix is that you might struggle to get visibility on the search engines, which means that you'll struggle to get organic traffic to your website. What I mean by that is if someone types in, let's just say based in Bristol, sorry, I don't know, I think my internet might be a bit dodgy. Let's say you're a life coach in Bristol. If someone's searching for a life coach in Bristol on the likes of Google, then you might struggle to rank for those keywords with Wix. And the reason for that is because it's got a drag and drop builder that makes it really easy for you to build the page, but it makes it hard for search engines to actually see what your website is about. And search engines are all about relevancy and content. So they will only send traffic to your website if they 100% know what it is that you are talking about and what you're an expert in. And so if they can't find that out quickly, they'll drop you down the rankings. So my preference is always WordPress, but if people have got questions about that, then please shout in the chat, and I can answer any questions around that. Just to cause a little bit of confusion, there are two versions of WordPress, and I do have a video actually that can talk you through the difference between the versions of them. But the one that I would always recommend you use is called the self-hosted version of WordPress. So that was the third. That's the third element. So we had domain name, we had hosting, we had a platform. Once you've chosen your platform, usually you will have some kind of templates or themes that are going to help you build a good-looking website. They'll help you structure the page and the content and the layout and help you make it look pretty. And then finally, you have content. That's the words that you put on there, the images and the videos, anything else that you're putting on there, because without the content, your website doesn't really exist. So those are the 5 elements of every single website. And so the ones that that you need for sure, or a good place to get started, is with your domain name registration. And I'll talk you through domain name registration if you want me to. But I think most of you are kind of probably beyond that. So I'm going to, if there are questions about that, then shout. But I'm going to move on to the next thing, which people were talking about, which is they have a website, but it doesn't really bring them inquiries or clients or connections. So so the thing about that is, when we invite people to our website and we ask them to buy something, it's a little bit like asking someone to marry you on the first date. It's a bit weird. So and it's not very successful. So usually we do what we call a series of micro commitments. So we ask people to take tiny baby steps until they trust us and understand that we know what they're talking about, or that we know what we're talking about. And at that point, then we can ask them to take the next step of their journey with us, which might be to make a sale or buy a workshop or come on our course or buy a book or whatever it is. So that's the bit that is often missing for people, because they will have a website and they've got this amazing service or this amazing course that they've created, and they hope that when people arrive there, they're going to be wowed enough in order to just hop straight in and buy it, or literally like take their credit card out and give them some money. And it's really rarely that is the case. And often what's missing is a little bit of clarity around what it is that you do, who you can help, and what makes you unique or uniquely able to help them. So there's often a messaging issue, and there's often a customer journey issue as well. So for those of you who already have a website and say they're not really getting great results from it, if you were really honest with yourself, and this is a really valuable exercise, if you've got like a business buddy or somebody that that you can just hop onto a 5-minute Zoom with, and you can show them your website cold, they don't know what you do, and just give them 30 seconds to tell you what it is they think that you do and who you work with. That can be so telling. We do that in my membership. We do it like periodically, where we all get together and we go into breakout rooms and we look at each other's websites. And the revelations from that are amazing, because we're so close to our own businesses. It's really hard for us to really appreciate what other people are actually seeing and what parts of the puzzle we're kind of missing. And most of us are affected by the curse of knowledge, right? Because we know too much about our own work or our own industry, and we have this assumption that everybody else does too. And so if we're looking at a kind of scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being like PhD kind of level and 1 being toddler level, you want to be pitching your messaging at about 4. And most of us want to kind of tone down, not because we're wanting to dumb it down, not because people that visit our website are stupid, but just because they have so many messages that they're being bombarded with. And we want to make sure that when they arrive on our website, they don't have to think. They literally just can get it. It's straight away. There's real clarity around what you do. And so I would encourage all of you to look at your website. Those of you who have said that you're disappointed with the responses that you're getting from your website, either look at it with fresh eyes and go in, like put yourself in the shoes of someone who has no idea what you do, or ask somebody else to do it. Maybe it's your aunt, she doesn't know what you do, and just ask her to spend 5 minutes looking at your website.
Brilliant. So we've had a few questions, so I'm going to just zip through them as well whilst we're on this subject. And firstly, Margaret, just to let you know, I can see your comments. So they are coming through. I can see them fine. I'm glad you're here with us. And welcome to Fernand, who's also joined us. And I think there's a few more. Susan, who's joined us as well. Congratulations for joining us. It's fab. So Vic is asking, would you recommend buying a theme or using Elementor?
Okay, great question. So Elementor is what we call a freemium theme. So there is a free version. And then if you want the more advanced features of it, then you can upgrade to the paid version. So you can also use Elementor with other themes. So if you've found a theme that you love, Elementor can help you build the page and help you customize it. So often it's great to actually buy a theme to get you started, because loads of it's like trying to write a blog post and starting with a blank page. Sometimes we just get stuck. If we have a theme that gives us a kind of starting point, it can just move us forwards faster. What I would just caution you on is, sometimes when we buy a theme, we try to make our content fit the layout, and it should be the other way around. So we should start with that blank piece of paper and write out what it is that we're wanting to say, what we need people to know about, and then the theme should fit in around our content, so that it's not dictating what we're actually saying. So the way that we can do that is you can buy a theme, but you need to have a good understanding of how you can adapt it, because most of the themes you are able to remove elements or add more elements or just tweak it so that it does fit your requirements. So yes, buying a theme is a good starting point, but make sure you also have a good understanding of how you can customize it.
I think if we just jump back to what you were saying about making sure you've got content on your website that is speaking to your audience and that is clear and communicating what you do in a very clear way, I would say one of the biggest issues that I see when I look at a lot of people's websites that are coming through, either to have a call with me or with one of my sales team, with my coaches, or one of my students. I look at a lot of websites, and I think that the key thing I would say that is often a problem with content is that there's no clear, I can't see the audience clearly explained as to who it's meant to be talking to. And the other bit is that it's not really clear what their niche is. Often I see can often be quite broad, and general. And if I can't see a very clear, immediately get a sense of what's the problem that they're helping to solve and who is it that they're helping to solve that problem for, and what is the outcome that they can help deliver, as a result of solving that problem. If I can't see those things in the first page, in the home page, and then going on to the sales pages, then I'm like immediately thinking, okay, I'm not clear right now what this person is doing or what their focus is. And I know then that when I'm trying to help them on LinkedIn, it's going to be harder to support them with getting the result they want in terms of getting appointments and clients, because there isn't that focus clear. This is a problem I help solve. This is the audience. Exactly. So what would you, what advice do you have in terms of someone building a website and creating content around, actually just making sure that they know what it is that they want to put on the website? I'm sure you've done this so many times with clients.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So there's a kind of template that you can use, and it's difficult because we're all expansive human beings and we have these amazing goals, and what we need to do, and what you were saying, Shelley, is in terms of really having that clarity when people land on your website, we have to try and put ourselves in a little bit of a box, and that's really, most of us are really resistant to doing it because, like I say, we don't want to be put in a box, but we have to try really hard to do this, to condense what it is that we do and who we work with, so that when Shelley arrives on your website, she instantly knows what it is that you do. Because we say that confusion is the killer of conversions, and it's so true. And if people don't understand what you do right from the outset, they will just hit the back button and go to one of your competitors, even if they provide a substandard service. You might have the most amazing service that you offer, and yet if your messaging isn't clear, no one's going to work with you, which is just a sad reality. So the template that we kind of use to help us get into this box is I help, and then whoever you help with, whatever you help them with, so that whatever the outcome is. And that's just a really useful kind of template for you to get started. And that should be right at the top of your website page, right at the top of your homepage. So it's not good enough to say something like, let's say you're a life coach. It's not good enough to say, I help people live their best life. Because when I arrive on your webpage, well, I don't know if you're going to heal my bad back so that I can live my best life. I don't know if you're going to help me with my relationship with my teenagers who I'm having problems with at night. Or I don't know if you're going to help me with my anxiety. So you need to get really, really specific about who it is that you are helping and what that ultimate outcome is going to be. And if you can do that with words and also in a visual way, so that there's some kind of visual happy ending that's on the page as well, then that reinforces the message and makes it, we have that visual connection as well as reading the words and understanding what it is that you do. So that would be my top tip, is to, and it's a really, honestly, it sounds really easy, like I help whoever you help, and then with whatever you help them with, so that it sounds a really easy formula to use, but when you get down to it, it's really challenging, but it's going to make a massive difference to the conversion rate on your website and whether people hang around. And let's just be very clear on what the objective of our website should be, because if I was to ask any one of you in the chat what the objective of your website, what do you want your website to do, I'd get a whole load of answers. Some of you might say, I want it to grow my list. Some of you might say, I want to sell my book. I want people to book onto my workshops. I want to book discovery calls. I want people to pick up the phone and make an appointment. There's loads of things you can be wanting your website to do. And lots of you will be saying right now, I want it to do all of that. I want all of that for my website. But the primary objective of your homepage is to get people to stay. So you actually want, there's so much noise and so much competition for people's attention that you just need to hook people in so that they're curious about what you do and how you can help them. And then you take them on that next step to buy your book or book a discovery call or come on a workshop or whatever it is you want them to do next. So hopefully that clarifies that.
That was brilliant. I thought that was fantastic, Vicky. That was really fantastic. So if we kind of move on then a step from there, and I know we're probably coming towards the sort of the close of our time today, and I feel like we probably could spend another half an hour talking about this subject with everyone. But if we kind of take another step forwards and think a little bit about, you know, if someone is really interested in how to start generating some traffic to their website, what do you think in terms of that side, making sure that they are making the most of anyone that lands on their website and then doing that next step with them to make sure that they're capturing that information? What would that process look like from your standpoint?
Yeah, so the first thing, you're absolutely right. The first thing is to make sure that you've got the foundations right on your website. So when people arrive on your website, they're not bouncing off, and that you have some kind of system to bring them onto your email list or take them through that next stage of the journey with you. Because without that, there's no point in you spending energy driving people to your website. So there are so many ways that you can drive traffic to your website, and a lot of it's going to depend on your audience. A lot of it's going to depend on your comfort zones. And a lot of it's going to depend on your kind of appetite and potential for consistency. So obviously in Shelley's world, most of you are probably on LinkedIn. And so you're probably on LinkedIn. But what you need to make sure, and this is for any platform, whether it's LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever it is, that there is an intention to your content. So you're not just posting for the sake of just being visible. Exactly. Because when we do that, we feel this kind of urgency to actually just put ourselves out there. And for some of us, that's really uncomfortable to get started. But we need to make sure with every piece of content that we put out there that we think, what are we wanting to achieve with this piece of content? And that might just be that we want people to like and comment on it. Or it might be that we want to take them to a new blog post that we've written on our website, or view our latest YouTube video. Or maybe you're just wanting to seed something about a launch that you've got happening next week. And so you're wanting to just plant a little bit of curiosity around whatever that course is that you're going to be launching, or product or service or whatever it might be. So, but each time you go live, make sure, or put a post out or whatever it is, make sure that there's an intention behind it. Otherwise, we're just creating noise for the sake of creating noise, and it doesn't serve us, and it's exhausting. So in terms of driving traffic, yes, of course, social media is amazing. And it's probably your cheapest and fastest way to drive traffic to your website. And there's lots of ways that you can leverage that in terms of if you've got a tiny audience who are just getting started, then you can be going into groups, like big groups who have a similar audience to the ones that you're wanting to serve or speak to, and you get engaged in there. Now, it's time consuming to do this stuff, so you need to make sure that you're focusing your efforts in the right place and that you have some kind of mechanism for tracking what you're doing. So what I mean by that is, don't just go for this kind of splatter gun approach and hope that some of it's going to stick and some of it's going to work, because it's a really fast way to burn out and it's a really fast way to disappointment. So you want to make sure that you're just being a little bit strategic about it. And that could be something as straightforward as putting together a spreadsheet of groups that have your audience and the days where you're allowed to put some kind of promotion in there. And on the other days, you're just dipping in there and you're adding value or engaging or commenting on stuff. So that's a really great way to be piggybacking other people's audiences. And then on those promo days, you can be driving traffic to your own stuff, whether that's a blog post or a lead magnet or whatever it might be. So social media is a really big one for driving traffic, but there's so much else that you could be doing. So you could be looking at PR, so public relations, seeing if you've got some kind of angle or a hook where you can approach journalists about a story, because that's going to give you a big audience really, really fast if you can snag one of those. You could be looking at doing speaking engagements, either virtual or on real stages, now that we're all getting back to real life. And you could look at coming in as a guest expert, doing something like we're doing with Shelley right now. So going in someone else's group and talking on something that's your area of speciality. And there's loads and loads of people with groups who are wanting guest experts to come in.
Absolutely.
So, if you feel confident enough to be talking for 20 minutes, half an hour on an area that you are an expert in and that you can help people in, then that's a good way to get in front of people. And all this will start to drive traffic to your website. So there's literally like 101 ways that we could be doing. And I haven't even mentioned any of the paid options. But most people, and what I would encourage you to do actually is always start with organic traffic. So don't ever start putting money into ads until you know that the foundations that we talked about before are working for organic traffic, because you can literally burn through a lot of cash if you start spending money on sending paid traffic to something that isn't tested yet. And we can make assumptions about, oh, this is an amazing offering and my message is fabulous and this is just going to sell like hotcakes. And we can make that assumption, and sometimes it's the stuff that we don't expect to work that works really, really well. And that thing that we thought that was amazing just literally just kind of slips away quietly. So we have to look to the data to start telling us. And I know most people, coaches, therapists, are like, oh, data, statistics, I don't want to deal with numbers at all. And to be honest, I've been a little bit like that in my time, until that when you dig into a little bit of data and you find out where the traffic's coming from and what people are actually doing, how much that can inform us on where we devote time and energy in the future.
Absolutely. Fantastic. So I know that you have a 5-day build your website challenge coming up. I'd love you just to share a little bit about this for anyone that's interested in learning more about how they can build their own website.
Yeah, so just give you a little bit of a backstory about this. So when I first started teaching people how to build websites, I started using webinars because that's what everyone was doing and it seemed amazing. And I was just terrible. I just really didn't like delivering webinars at all. And so then I decided on this idea of, what if I bring people into a Facebook group and I teach them, like give them a daily task and teach them how to do something every day. And then I have more of a chance to like interact with them and get to know their businesses a bit. And this was when we were working together, Shelley. It's like back in 2017 when I ran my first challenge, and it was before challenges were really a thing. And I just absolutely loved it. So my Confident Website Creation Challenge, I think it's like the 23rd time that I've run it. And it starts next week. And it's 5 days of me with you in a group. And I give you tasks every morning to complete. So things like, we'll look at your domain name together and make sure that we choose one that's a really powerful domain name for your business. And then we look at hosting, and we look at platforms. We look at colors for your website and what's going to be best for your audience. We've looked at your audience, like before you even get started with the challenge. As soon as you sign up, you get access to some pre-work that you can do about your ideal audience. And that can then inform your choices on your domain name and the colors that you're going to choose. And then we go ahead and if you've decided that WordPress is the platform for you, we install WordPress together on your new hosting plan, set you up with a professional email address. And I talk to you about themes and plugins. And then at the very end, I've got like a bonus workshop where I talk more about lead generation and strategy on your website, and how to make sure that the website that you build is going to serve you, and it doesn't become a sleeping beauty website. Because we all, like, the vanity in all of us wants a beautiful website, but actually the strategist in all of us should want a really highly functioning website. And I've seen websites that are hugely successful which are really ugly as sin. Like, they're not good looking sites at all. I don't encourage you to go down that route, but what I'm saying is aesthetics aren't everything. We do want a visually good looking site, but actually we want a site that's going to really function well for us, and it has those solid foundations in place that we've been talking about. So the final workshop that I run is like a bonus to talk you through all of those strategies that you can go ahead and start putting in place on your website.
Fantastic. So I'm just grabbing the link for everyone so that they can sign up for the challenge. I'll pop it into the chat for you guys. There we go. So I've just put that into the chat, and I'm just going to pop it into actually directly on Facebook as well, so you can see. There we go.
So yeah, so if any of you want to register, you can go ahead and just clicking on that link will take you to the registration page. And once you've registered, then you'll receive some information. In terms of how it works is I deliver a pre-recorded short video every morning at 6 in the morning. And you can work through that at your leisure during that day. And each task should only take you about 10 to 20 minutes. And then every evening at 8 o'clock UK time, which we're now in GMT, I run a live Q&A session. So once you've worked through the task, if you bump up against any questions, then you can bring those to the Q&A. And those Q&As, they are meant to just be question and answer sessions, but they usually end up being a teach about all sorts, whether that's like launching or productivity or entrepreneurship generally. So we try to keep on track with websites, but actually there's so much more around just running your website and your online business that we dive into as well. So they're really valuable sessions. But if you can't attend the live sessions, then there's always a replay. So you can post a question in advance and then I can answer it, so you can watch it then on the replay.
Fantastic. Awesome. And I can highly recommend Vicky's challenges because, you know, again, she's been doing this 23 times already. You have literally perfected your challenge. You've tried so many different approaches to it that you now have the way of being able to really get people going in just 5 days.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because every time we do something, we learn something new and we can tweak and optimize things. And so, you know, my challenge is like that. I'm sure, Shelley, with your challenges, you do the same. But it's the same with everything. It's the same with our, you know, with our websites, with our blog posts, with our promotions, whatever it is. As long as we're constantly revisiting it and then just tweaking it and changing it slightly, then we can just start improving our results each time.
Exactly. And Savita is asking, is it a free challenge? It is a free challenge, Savita. So it's completely free. I've popped the link in a couple of times so you can see it, and go ahead and sign up for Vicky's 5-day challenge. So if any of the guys listening want to connect with you, Vicky, what would be the best way for them to connect with you?
So My web address is the website mentor.com, and that's the best place to find out about my services. Or I have a Facebook group. My community is the WordPress Happy community, and so that's where I hang out a lot online. But that's probably the best place to get in touch with me.
Fantastic. Well, it's been great having you here. I know we could carry on talking for even longer, and it's, you know, great to see so many people joining us. But thank you so much for being here. We'll just have to get you back again.
Oh, thanks, Shelley. It's lovely. It's always lovely to come and have a chat with you. So thank you so much for having me, and thank you guys for being here and for bringing some great questions.
Brilliant. Well, thank you, Vicky, so much. And I'm just going to say to you guys, a quick note for you guys that that we have, as well as Vicky's 5-day challenge, which I do recommend that you guys hop on right now. We have quite an exciting November coming up ourselves over here at Client Nectar. So please keep an eye on your emails, because we have some exciting opportunities for you in terms of webinar coming up, and also a special 1-day intensive at the beginning of December that you guys definitely want to come along to. So keep an eye out for everything. All will be revealed about exactly what we're doing at Client Nectar for you guys. And in the meantime, I will also repost the link for Vicky's challenge. If you didn't manage to see it in the comments, although it's still there, I'll post it into the top of this text above this actual video as well. So if you're watching it on replay, you can also join her challenge that's happening next week. And I'll also be sending out details in an email in the next couple of days as well, so you will be able to get it via email too. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. It's been fantastic. Thanks again to Vicky, our amazing guest. And please do just pop into the comments. What was this like? Did you enjoy this interview? Was it helpful to you? Just pop into the comments and let us know how you found the interview. And also, if you're watching this on the replay, just pop replay so that I know you're watching it on the replay. All right, bye for now, guys.